Well, hello and welcome to Awaken Wednesday. And it is Wednesday, August 4th. And I'm so glad you're here. So today I was thinking about the word sway. Sway. Like the trees sway, like the palms sway, like the reeds sway in the winds of change. And I was thinking about the way the body sways. I know sometimes when I'm watching myself on these videos, I'm like this, I'm swaying a little bit. And quite often people ask me, well, what is that? What is that? Well, I can't definitively tell you what it is, but I can say that it is a natural energetic realignment. It's a natural energetic realignment. And some people don't sway, they lean. Some people don't lean, they crumble it or fold. But whether you sway or lean or fold, that is still okay in meditation. We often say to sit still with your eyes closed, but stillness can involve this grounded movement. Now, I'm not going to suggest you do it on purpose in the meditation, but today I thought we could practice a little of that before we start our meditation. So I also want to talk to you about what this meditation is. And some of you have done this with me before. It is the Soul Awakening practice with James O'Day, but we're going to do it in a slightly different way. And I want to sort of set you up with that. So James O'Day is a beautiful teacher and has been in a conversation with us for Feast for the Soul before. And he has offered to the world this practice called the Soul Awakening practice. And he actually calls it a prayer. And he actually has a book on it if you wanted to look for it, and a website, James O'Day, O-D-E-A. And the Soul Awakening prayer is one that uses short phrases to invoke a particular experience, or not necessarily experience, to invoke a particular outcome. And the outcome is not always seen, as we all know, in meditation. Meditation is this gradual awakening. It really, really is. I was talking to my friend Teresa yesterday about that, and how sometimes, the awakening is so gradual that you cannot almost perceive it. Just like in the Taoist tradition, they talk about the way, W-E-I, the way, and they're talking about the way this grass grows in your yard, or the tree grows another limb, or the earth spins. It's just this way, and it translates, perfectly to us. It's this imperceptible shifting. And I believe that that's what happens when we do these practices, and really not holding very tightly to what we think the outcome should be. So as we're talking about soul awakening, that's what's happening, as we're all awakening as we do these daily practices, as we commit to our sadhana, as we really maintain our resolve in the face of other people's opinions and our own body's complaints and that kind of thing. So this uses two words, and we use two different words for two different words. No, we use two words 4 different times. And you'll see what I mean, because I'm not making that much sense. But there are these two words I would call a sutra. Have you heard of the word sutra, like Yoga Sutras or Kama Sutra? And what is a sutra? It's from the word stitch. You're stitching, you're suturing. Thank goodness I didn't need any of that, but you're suturing, you're tying things together. And what are you tying together in the practice? You are tying your attention and your intention together in the depths of your expanded awareness. You're tying them together in the depths of your expanded awareness. And as you know, and as we've talked about, the more subtle you go in creation, the more access to the more powerful your action is. As you know, we've been talking a lot about, the body and vaccines, and they go so subtle with those vaccines, right? They're going into the mitochondria, they're going into the RNA. That's the subtlety of you, the subtlety of information. And the more subtle we go, the more power we have access to. Whether I have a niece who has a chromosomal challenged, let's just say, missing a few or missing on an allele on a chromosome. And so it has an amazing impact on her. Now, such an impact compared to, let's say, clipping your fingernails. It's a larger thing to do, but it has less of an impact. And so the more subtle we go in creation and consciousness, what's looking through your eyes is so subtle and imperceptible, like a chromosome or electricity or what's keeping you grounded in your chair. So subtle that you can't perceive it. But when we dive into this consciousness, when we move from the waves of the ocean into the depths of the sea, that's where we can do some sutra work. And so what I thought we could do is start with our mindfulness practice, breath awareness practice, and then we can move from there into the sutra practice. But before we start any of that, we're going to do two other things. We're going to talk about the 5 essentials really quickly, because I think today the beginner's mind is really an important one to remember. So obviously it's okay if you get off track, you don't know what I said, it's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Number 2, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Never spend an instant beating yourself up, ever. It's not worth it. There's no value in it. Doesn't help. It's a bad habit. Don't try to have a certain experience. If I tell you the sutra and then you repeat it a few times to yourself and you don't feel a thing, that is perfectly fine. It is perfectly fine. Also, have a beginner's mind, even if you've done this practice before a million times. You might as well step into this river, this moment, this practice right now. And lastly, there's a couple more. Give up expectations and keeping that beginner's mind. Don't try to have an experience, and let's stick with the whole practice. Okay. I just have to shut off some sounds. There we go. Hopefully that will maintain some peace over here. So let's start with the swaying, shall we? So as you know in meditation, if this is your first time being with me, I welcome you. My name is Sarah McLean. Sit comfortably, or if you want to lie down or stand up, you can do that. But maintain awareness if you can. Lying down, if you know you're tired, that'll turn into a nap, and that's nice, but it's a different thing than meditating. Okay, I'm just letting a few people in, and we'll get started. So find your spot, find your comfort, find your groundedness, find your support, whether you're sitting, kneeling, standing, or lying down. And you can close your eyes if you like, or you can gaze softly towards the ground. And throughout this practice, you can keep your eyes that way, or you can open them sometimes, or you can close them sometimes. It's really about you and your comfort, but minimize distractions. Turn your phone off unless you're listening to us this way. Just try to be right here, right now, in your body, in this moment, in your life. Be right here, right now. Let's begin by giving ourselves some long, slow, deep breaths through the nose. Breathing in slowly and fully at your own pace, filling up your lungs, and then exhaling at your own pace. You might even count one inhale and then exhale at the same count. We'll do this for about 3 or 4 breaths. And then let your breath return to its natural rhythm and depth. And throughout this practice, you'll be breathing naturally as your breath changes or gets slower, faster, deeper, shallower. Let it be as it is. As a matter of fact, let everything be as it is. Beginning to notice the sounds in the room. Maybe the sounds outside of the room. Practicing welcoming everything and not needing to know what it is you're hearing. Simply being aware of sound. Now, with that same welcoming attitude, begin to notice the body. Sense of being grounded and supported. Tuning into your feet, your legs, your hips, your rear. And as you feel this groundedness, you might breathe into it. Imagine that you're breathing into it anyway. Right down into the feet, into the legs, into your hips and pelvis. Let your upper body soften. Let your shoulders soften. Your belly, your spine. And now begin to notice as you breathe naturally that there's an energy movement or an actual physical movement in the body. Whether the body is back and forth, front to back, whether it's just part of your body, like your head, your mid chest, your neck. Begin to allow whatever energy is there to express itself if it wants to sway or lean or fold. Some people report that they feel like they're going in a spiral. And you can experiment with what feels good to you right now as you let your body naturally and subtly move. And you do not have to coordinate this with your breath. Allowing everything right here, right now. Allowing the sway and allowing the flow, allowing the being. You might come to a natural stillness, or you might continue to sway, allowing your body to be as it is. You can begin now to turn your attention to your breath. Ideally, if you can, breathing through your nose. If there's a new natural movement that goes along with your breath, allow it to be here. Breathing in and out through the nose, naturally, easily. Inviting kindness and curiosity. What are those subtle sensations of the inhale? Noticing those subtle sensations of the exhale. This breath and this breath. Becoming aware that you're breathing in, and aware that you're breathing out. You might tune into the pauses between each breath. You might tune into the pathway your breath takes. And you might tune into the way the body responds to the breath, the subtleties of it, the gentle opening, and movement, and rising and falling. And practice this for another couple of minutes, being right here, right now. Every time the mind wants to time travel, bring it back here, right to this moment in this breath. And in this stillness, be still. Allow your awareness to expand into the vast experience of being right here. And I'll begin to share the sutras with you. The first time we go through this series, you can offer these intentions to yourself. There's nothing you need to do. Simply repeat each one silently to yourself. Soul awakening. Soul awakening. Like a pebble sinks to the bottom of a still pond. You might repeat it a few times. Soul awakening. Heart opening. Heart opening. Light shining. Light shining. Love flowing. Love flowing. Wounds dissolving. Wounds dissolving. And as we go through the series again, this time you can invite whomever into your awareness and offer this as a prayer for them, whether it be one person or the world as a collective. And it could be different for each one. Soul awakening. heart opening. Light shining. Love flowing. Wounds dissolving. Now, rest in being. Continue to rest in being. Bringing your attention to the body, noticing once again any flow or movement. Sense your groundedness. Sway a little on purpose to invite more movement and deepen your breath if you like. And if you'd like to open your eyes, you can do that. Take your time. There's no rush. I like to do a little at a time, first with a downward gaze, closing them again before opening my eyes all the way. Thank you for meditating with me today. May we all have the soul awakening and the heart opening and the light shining and the love flowing and our wounds dissolving and awaken to the love that lives through us as us. Thank you. Yummy. I love that guy. I love this practice, and thank you for practicing with me today. I know we're on mute. I'd love to hear how you're doing, if you want to share. And meanwhile, while we're thinking about doing that, I'm going to say goodbye to those of you listening to us on the recording. And you can find us, if you want to join us live, you can go to my website, McLeanmeditation.com, MCLEAN meditation.com.